behavior towards the environment in the next century. In fact, they've put this charter into a little case, which is like the Ark of the Covenant, and they are going to carry it into the Holy Room of the United Nations and ensconce it as a covenant. This is scary stuff. And then there must be a new economic order. The world is going to change before our eyes. World Goodwill, again, this organization founded by Hugh Tunt and all the big people, says the same thing. The United Nations called in 1974 for the redistribution of wealth. Now let me just redefine that for you. If you're going to redistribute wealth, it means what? You're going to take it from those that have and give it to those that you think should have it. Is that right? What does the Bible call that? Stealing. That's right. The Bible says, "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods, and thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, house, anything, his ox or his donkey, his implements, his working tools, and his car. Leave him alone." That's what the Bible says. But they're saying, no, we'll redistribute it, and we'll have a new international economic order. Now, what will be the basis of that order? Let's go to the beast. This is the famous encyclical Rerum Novarum. This was the defining economic thought principle of the Roman Catholic Church. One of the Roman Church's most influential statements on economic matters is the 1891, it's very old, encyclical Rerum Novarum on the condition of the working classes. Now, it's based on the proletariat, Marxism, and the final enemy, the capitalist order, which will disappear. Now, Pius, quotes, writing in 1931, declared the following, Pope Pius. Remember, these popes are infallible. Rerum Novarum, however, stood out in this, that it laid down for, what's it say there? All mankind unerring rules for the right solution of the difficult problem of human solidarity called the social question. So, Rerum Novarum forms the basis. Now let's go to the next Pope, John the 23rd, the one of Vatican II. By far the most notable evidence of this social teaching and action which the Church has set forth through the centuries undoubtedly is the very distinguished encyclical letter Rerum Novarum. Next Pope. Interesting. So what is the economic thought of the Roman Catholic Church? It comes from Thomas Aquinas. Let's read it. Because the goods of some are due to others by natural law, there is no sin if the poor take the goods of their neighbors. Thomas wrote, in cases of need, all things are common property, so there would seem to be no sin in taking another's property, for need has made it common. Who defines the need? Not only is the taking of another's property not sin, it is not even a crime. It is lawful for a man to succor his own needs by the means of another's property by taking it either openly or secretly, nor is this properly speaking theft or robbery. It is not theft, properly speaking, to take secretly and use another's property in case of extreme need, because that which he takes for the support of his life becomes his own property by reason of that need. In the case of a like need, a man may also take secretly another's property in order to succor his neighbor's need. That's nice. You can be a philanthropist and have long fingers at the same time. Now, surely this is not accepted thought. Wrong. John Paul II. Now we're with the previous Pope. Expression in his 1987 encyclical on the social concern. It is necessary to state once more the characteristic principle of Christian social doctrine. The goods of this world are originally meant for all. The right of private property is valid and necessary, but it does not nullify the value of this principle. Private property, in fact, is under a social mortgage. That's why in Africa you can chase the farmers off the land and take the land, and the farmer still has to pay the rates. But he doesn't own the land. He can become a worker for his workers and maybe stay on the land if he begs them and speaks nicely, because if they don't want to feed them, he might feed them. We have laws all over the world that if you leave your house vacant, they can move in and take your house, and when you come back, you can't kick them out. You have to get an eviction order, which you cannot get if he has need. So the best you can do is move in with him. Pope Paul VI made this point quite clear. Each man has therefore the right to find in the world what is necessary for himself. The recent council reminded us of this. God intended the earth and all that it contains for the use of every human being and people. Thus, as all men follow justice and unite in charity, created goods should abound for them on a reasonable basis. All other rights whatsoever, including those of property and of free commerce, are to be subordinate to this principle. So it's Thomas Aquinas' thinking. And John Paul II says exactly the same. He writes, if one is in extreme necessity, he has the right to procure for himself what he needs out of the riches of others. He's the man of lawlessness. He's the man of sin. The Bible defines him correctly. And so we go through the council. He writes further, this is John Paul II, Laborum Exercens. He writes, all goods included not just the goods found in nature, but manufactured goods as well. All people, Paul declared that all men must have access to those goods which are intended for common use, both goods of nature and manufactured goods. That's why, if you have a car, and a man comes up to you and puts a gun to your head and says, get out, or he doesn't even bother to tell you to get out, he just puts a bullet through you and pulls you out and takes your car and drives off, well, it's very hard. When you come in my country now, you come into your home and you find a thief in your home, ransacking your home, and you shoot him, you go to jail for murder. You go to jail for murder. If you come into your home and you find a man inside raping your wife, you get the police come in and they shoot him, the policeman goes to jail for murder. Because if the man stopped, he's no danger to you anymore and he may go. You cannot stop him. And you cannot keep him in jail and you cannot do anything, and these people are just running free. These laws are alive and well and operating, although we do not even know it. The complex circumstances of our time make it necessary for public authority to intervene more often in social economic culture. And this man over here, George Bush, said, the best way to honor John Paul II, truly one of the great men, is to take his teaching seriously, to listen to his words and put his words and teachings into action. Here in America, this is a challenge we must accept. Now, this social disorder is what we are experiencing in our country right now. And you have no idea what it entails. You have no idea. 3 of my close neighbors have been murdered. The houses are ransacked. They take them away. Our church members, the pastor was pushed into the back of a car. They tried to take his car and accost him. Another church member, they tied him to a chair. They ransacked his house. They had big trucks, load up everything, and just take it away. They do nothing about it. You have to start all over again. Is this idea going to be disseminated? Here is Jacobinism and Americanism. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice used a February 8th speech in Paris to extol the Bush administration's global democratic revolution, which she says continues the work of the 18th century French Revolution. Woo, we have a prophet that's bang on target. Here is the World Economic Forum. There is a former president of the United States, Bill Gates, our own president, Thabo Mbeki, and then the Prime Minister of the United States. And what's Bono doing there? Don't underestimate that man. Don't underestimate that man. He said he'll see to the redistribution of wealth. Don't underestimate it. So, a new economic order, we're going to lose everything. They're going to come and they're going to take it away. Are you ready for it? They're going to come and they're going to take it away. There was a vision. She saw people coming, and then it turned into a Catholic procession, and they confiscated everything. They're going to come and take it away. I don't care. They're going to have it for a little while, and then it's going to go. But the Lord has a mansion prepared for those that love Him. Now let's look at this New World religion. Robert Miller writing, was it not inevitable that the UN would sooner or later also acquire a spiritual dimension? And then he writes, this is Robert Miller writing, Pope John Paul said that we were the stone cutters and artisans of a cathedral, which we might never see in the